sorry. Say sorry. Say, it's one word. You were wrong, I was wrong.
Thank you. You can wear your mask.
Say sorry. Say sorry.
Wearing a mask.
There you go.
It's very sad and disturbing to see as well in many ways. I spent time in both these communities and they're lovely people. We're going to see. Both these sprayers being deployed.
Don't touch the mic. You're meant to speak. You're meant to be speaking truth to power. Are you here just to take your marching orders? Is that what you're here for?
Do you want to go away?
Not really. I'm here to do what you should be doing.
Yeah? Please take this out of my mouth. I'm going to have you escorted off to security.
All right. Do that.
Prime Minister, are you worried to take questions because you saw what happened to Jacinta Allen? Are you scared of answering the tough questions? Yesterday was the first time you didn't conflate anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Is that because you recognise that a lot of the hate is from the Muslim community?
Who come and approach? Who come and approach?
Mate,
I'm gonna
f***ing get you. You're gonna what?
I'm gonna f***ing get
What are you
you.
gonna do?
Leave.
What are you gonna do?
Leave. Leave.
What are you gonna
Leave.
do?
Hey, don't touch it. You came my way. You f*** off. You
What are you
understand?
gonna do?
You came my way.
Stay out of the paper. Why
What now? What now? What now? Can I show you? You want me to show you?
Right, one of the main interests of Harbayt, the Israeli police always make sure that only Muslims go. Jews and Christians are allowed to go through here. They're limited where infidels...
No Jews beyond these steps, pretty much.
No.
The only way Jews are allowed on nowadays, it's fairly new.
One place. You were arrested once upon a time because the police would say you're upsetting the Muslims and they'd get too angry, then there'd be violence, there'd be war.
I don't know, but this guy's going to get punched out.
I just got threatened by the head of news and programming of CNBC.
Jackpot.
Are you serious?
That's him there.
Why do you think you deserve so much power? Hey, Avi Yemeni, should I be scared now? Don't push me, bro. What? What are you getting violent for, man? I could push just like you can. Look at these thugs. They fund wars around the world and then you question them. They try not only to intimidate you, but physically assault you.
These are the activists that lost control of the situation today. This is Antifa, the socialists, the Marxists.
Pro-Palestinian supporters are coming to the Jewish community and instigating what can only be termed as a violent demonstration.
But you're at a synagogue. Why did you come to a synagogue if it's not about Jews?
You find Palestine war criminals in there.
How would you feel if Jews went to a mosque?
Shame on you. Shame on you for conflating the two.
Why are you talking about anti-Semitism when you're not Jewish?
Because I've been impacted by anti-Semitism.
Are you a Jew?
No, people think I am, and I've been called a fucking Jew and had someone threatened to kick my ass because they thought I was Jewish, so it's impacted me as well. We are not anti-Semitic.
Are you listening to yourself?
Yes.
Jacinta, we understand it's easier to run away, but what would you say to the Jewish community for them to believe that you could keep them safe since you failed them for a year and a half? Look at what are you doing? Why are you blocking my way, mate? Jacinta, why are you running away from the tough question? Why are you running away? Like a coward. No Jew can believe you're going to keep him safe. You came for a photo op. Does it look like how you expected it to look? Is it bigger, smaller?
Smaller?
Yeah.
Man, I don't need that.
You're not going to wear it?
Nah.
Wow. How are you going to do your photo at the wall? You have to wear one at the wall.
You have to?
Yeah.
All right.
You're going to look weird. People are going to look at you. We just need to get that photo.
All right, let's go pay our respects.
Can you tell us why you're still wearing a mask? Is that for COVID or to like protect your identity? Look at her. So she's the victim now. She's the victim. Look at the victim. When have I ever been called with Nazis?
To go up there when Posey Park was here. I saw you with my own eyes.
With Nazis?
Yes, with Nazis.
Me?
Yes, Michael Coulston and all his mates.
You know I wasn't there on that day.
You were there. I saw you. I was there myself.
You're also somebody that can't define what a woman is. I'm not sure we'll take your witness testimony as the strongest here, but...
Here's the thing. It shouldn't matter what my definition of a woman is.
To women it matters.
Be up to one person to define to others what they should do. Yeah?
Biology should, though. Are you not ashamed of what you've done in the last couple of years? If any other product in the world doesn't work as promised, you get a refund. Should you not refund to countries that laid out billions for your vaccine?
The Lord is my shepherd.
Come from this side.
I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still water. He restores my soul and leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Are you going to apologise for getting everything wrong, from mask mandates to vaccine mandates? Dr. Tedros, this is your chance to apologise to the world for your role during COVID. Would you like to take it?
Oh,
but
and you too, Ruxan.
Why are you picking on Ruxan? He's a person of colour. He's a protected species.
These are not real journalists. These are cooked podcasters.
This is not a real... It's a cooked...
Older people like you guys, you can't grasp the idea.
Excuse me, I'm quite young.
All right, buddy.
I identify as 19.
Why is it harmful that people want to, identify as another gender? How does that harm you?
How does it harm you that I want to identify as 19?
It doesn't harm me.
Okay, so then why don't you accept it?
I didn't say I didn't accept it.
You accept that I'm 19.
If you want to say that, it doesn't f***ing matter. It doesn't affect me.
Will you take back your statement where you said that I was an old man?
What?
I am home. I am home. I am home. I am home. I'm with my people here. I'm with my Australians. What do you want to do, man? I'm home. I'm home. I'm Australian. I'm home. I'm Australian. I'm Australian. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. I'm Australian. Cowards.
Why is the Prime Minister such a coward? Does he pay you to protect his cowardice? They say regaining trust is the theme this year. Are you part of the reason why they've lost trust in the WEF and everybody finally knows who you are and what you stand for? Thank you, Dr. Tedros, for showing us how transparent you and the World Economic Forum. Many of the arguments that are made against Israel can be made about Australia. Do you agree? Are you on stolen land?
Oh, we are on stolen land, undoubtedly.
And did we colonise?
We did, undoubtedly.
So now, if an Aboriginal terrorist group committed the same atrocities, would you agree?
No, which one? I better stop, Alvin.
If you refuse to move on, you'll be committing an offence. You'll get arrested for that offence.
Right, what's the offence?
Okay. Failure to move on.
Right, under which act?
Under which act?
Yeah.
Mate.
He was already arrested. He was already arrested.
Was that you? All right, mate. You're under arrest. Failure to move on.
Snitches get stitches. James, just so you know, that arrest is more real than the genocide. Do you guys cause trouble or not?
Sometimes.
Sometimes what kind of trouble?
Breaking in there.
Really? Is that fun?
No.
Do you get in trouble for it?
Yeah.
They're throwing rocks at us. Yeah, all good.
All good.
So there we are. Early on, they're throwing rocks at us already. These are kids out late. Police are barely doing anything. Why do you need a negotiation? Can't Hamas just release the hostages?
Hamas said yes, and Hamas said yes to the negotiation. Netanyahu said no. Hamas said yes.
Do you believe Hamas?
Of course I believe Hamas. I don't
believe Hamas?
I believe Hamas more than I believe.
Welcome back to the Opposition Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This beautiful Thursday night, I had to look at my watch to see what day it was because I am that confused. How you doing, mate? We might need to turn on your volume to be able to hear you, although most people in the comments seem to be happy with your mic off.
I put it on mute. I think last time, I'm doing good, by the way. How's everyone going? Last time people were saying my mic was a bit louder than yours and yours was softer. So I've lowered my mic a little bit today. So hopefully today, guys,
I think they were more saying
sounding
it
the
was
same.
peaking as you were coming too close to it, maybe.
Yeah, that as well.
Let us know in the comments, guys, if you want Rukshan to shut up or not. Just a couple of housekeeping. Now we have all the comments on the side there scrolling together. For some reason, Rumble didn't work today, so Rumble's out. But on all the other, I think I did something wrong. I've realised what I may have done wrong as it failed, but it is what it is. YouTube, Twitter, and X and Facebook all running there on the right-hand side, so you can get involved in the conversation there just by typing away your comments. And obviously, as usual, thank you in advance for anybody that super chats. We will read every single super chat on air. That super chats on mine or Rukshan's YouTube channels. So actually, even the Rebel News one, I think I'm running it on tonight for some reason. I've done things a little bit different. So if you put through a super chat, it'll come through here and we will read it. That way you get to have your comment read, you get to support the channel, and you also sometimes get to redirect the conversation. Aside from that, that's it. I've got everything. Yeah, that's right.
That's everything.
Let's get straight into it. We've also got a special guest coming in at about 8:30. So let's try to get through the news before then. We won't muck around too much. We'll get straight into the news. Let's start with this little story that was breaking.
Plus high drama on the last parliamentary sitting day before Christmas. Barnaby Joyce quit the Nationals while Malcolm Turnbull publicly criticised the party he once led. And Labor secured a major legislative win backed by the Greens.
Once the leader, now a leaver.
So after 30 years with the National Party, I'm resigning from the party.
Barnaby Joyce quits to sit on the crossbench, despite this stake on Tuesday not committing to One Nation yet.
Yeah, I'm considering it. That's the truth. I'm considering it. I've done the Senate before, 8 years, 7 months and a day. I know the job.
He's walked away from a room that's helped him in the highs and the lows.
A Nationals MP for more than 20 years, a former Deputy Prime Minister in coalition governments led by Scott Morrison and Malcolm Turnbull.
There's a major problem on what used to be called the right of politics. I mean, I think they've lost their way.
The 29th Prime Minister unveiling his parliamentary portrait today in front of former colleagues, with little sympathy for his successor watching on.
She's dealt quite a few of the cards in the hand herself.
In the Senate, the coalition dealt out as the Greens and Labor agreed on new environmental approval laws.
This is a landmark day for the environment in this country. It is also a good day for business in this country.
Establishing.
Doesn't matter about all that rubbish that was continuing in this report. So the story, in short, is that Barnaby Joyce has quit the Nationals Party. Firstly, isn't it funny to see Malcolm Turnbull firstly complain that the party has moved or changed when he's become a full-blown leftist? It's him that's actually shifted far left, even further left than he was when he was leader. But I guess the part of the story that everybody, in fact, Rebel at first, when the story first broke, Sky News was reporting and had quotes with Barnaby saying that he had joined One Nation. Do you have any insight? Because we ran the story and then we had to scrub it. What happened there?
I've still got my story up there with an update because I ran the same story, but that was actually the Sydney Morning Herald, which said they had two sources within Barnaby Joyce's camp, whatever that means, that had told them that he would be making a statement today, resigning from the party, and also committing to One Nation. So the Sydney Morning Herald ran that in the morning, and then Sky News obviously used it as a source, and it kind of spread. So the news was that Barnaby Joyce was quitting today, which he did end up doing. He did resign from the National Party, and that he would be committing to One Nation. But as these things go in politics, Savi, we saw even to the last minute, there were apparently people from within the Nationals, this was a reporting, that were trying to convince him to stay on. So I don't know if that was kind of put out there to help him with some leverage in negotiations or whatever was going on behind the scenes. It's possible it was done for that purpose. But, he did afterwards, after he resigned, he did comment to journalists that he's considering joining One Nation. So it could just be a matter of doing it in a more formal way with Pauline Hanson there rather than in the actual, lower house itself. I'm not 100% sure exactly. Right now, he's sitting as a independent now on the crossbench. But let's see. He does, very openly admit that he's considering it. So there could be something in the works for sure.
Do you think he's going to join?
Look, I think when we look at One Nation and where they're at today as a party in terms of their popularity, I don't know if it works for him in the lower house, if it's possible to win. I did see a recent poll where it had the Nationals polling very high in his particular seat compared to One Nation for his same seat. So I don't know how that translates over with voters there when they find out he's running for One Nation. Does he have the loyalty in that region for him to be able to carry that seat? Because he's been there obviously for a long time. So a lot of people are familiar with him. Or would he be running, in the Senate or something like this? We don't really know how that would work out, what his place would be with One Nation. But clearly, for Pauline Hanson, she's been courting him with that picture of them having a steak sandwich or whatever it was.
She claims it was a good steak.
It was a good steak, and it's
That's
been put out there
question.
publicly.
Has he actually answered whether it was a good steak or not? Because I think that should like if I was in his position, I would probably that would be my deciding factor.
If it was a good sandwich.
Yeah, if it was a good steak,
Yeah.
if she cooked a decent steak, then
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Isn't it
exactly.
funny?
And I think there's obviously he's got a colorful history as well, right? Similar to Pauline Hanson. Whether they would get along is hard for me to tell because they are both these type of figures that possibly could end up at loggerheads. And I think even in the past, they have had clashes. Pauline Hanson has called him out very publicly, I believe, throughout the years in Parliament House. So whether there'd be a fit that works, I don't know. But the way that Australia's kind of moving on some of these issues and the fact that Barnaby Joyce doesn't necessarily feel like he's valued at the Nationals, at least that's what the speech that he gave kind of indicated, that, he's been put in the corner somewhere. He's not really a part of the team. No one's really talked to him. I think he said his leader gave one phone call to him, and that was really it. So he doesn't feel valued there. Would he feel valued at One Nation and, be able to contribute the way he wants to contribute? I don't really know, but obviously the country is moving in a certain direction when it comes to the more, the minor parties like One Nation gaining a bit more traction on particular issues that the Liberal Party and the Nationals don't seem to able to, sell to the public that well.
Yeah, well, I hope he does join just to help the momentum in a lead up to the election, because as I have made quite public, I am all in. I am supporting him. I think they're doing well. The consistency at the moment is the best seller for me. And either way, it's funny to watch this happen.
Look, I mean, it'll be entertaining. Like, can you imagine Barnaby Joyce and Pauline Hanson combo at a press conference? Can you imagine?
Daniel thinks that it was intentional trolling, where he was just like feeding sources info just so that they would run a story that he is moving over, and then he'll be like, "No, I'm just gone to the crossbench. I'm deciding."
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the guy to do a bit of that trolling. I really think it's just to put it out there.
You don't think he got cold feet? Do you think he maybe got cold feet?
No, I don't think he got cold feet. I think he just put it out there. Look, I went with it because obviously, Sydney Morning Herald, they had two sources within his camp, and he did actually make that statement at 1:30 p.m. So I didn't necessarily think he'd be saying in the actual chamber that he would be deflecting to One Nation. I thought there'd be like a follow-up press conference or announcement or something like this. But maybe they're saving that for a different time. Or maybe the negotiations aren't fully done. I don't know exactly.
Guys, let us know in the comments if you think Barnaby should move over to One Nation, or you prefer One Nation, because maybe a lot of people don't want him on One Nation. I don't even know. Do people want him to join One Nation? Is that something that One Nation supporters? I could see from the last live stream, it seems like a lot of people are are voting for One Nation. I couldn't tell if they were new people that it was deciding votes based on the comments, because the majority said they definitely have my vote. People are not very good at listening to.
Well,
my
One Nation
instructions.
just posted again on their social media, and they keep posting these updates now. And they said that their membership has tripled since the May election. So they keep all the time. Their membership keeps growing around Australia, and even with Barnaby Joyce, whether people like it or not, I think a lot of One Nation supporters see it as a validation of their growth and the fact that they do want these nationals and other people in the Liberal Party to perhaps deflect to One Nation, regardless of what they think of them as individual politicians. It just, like you said, adds to that momentum that they're gaining right now.
Okay, let's move on to the next story. We'll follow that as it happens. Any updates? But the big story making news today.
Well, 2 members of the US National Guard have been critically injured in a shooting near the White House. America's editor John Lyons is at the scene and he joins me now. Hi there, John. Thanks for your time. Can you give us some details that you have around this shooting?
Well, Catherine, I'm standing only 2 or 3 blocks from the White House, and about 2 hours ago, a man with a gun ran around a corner just up the top there behind those flashing lights, and it appears he targeted these 2 members of the National Guard. Now, the National Guard in the United States are members of the military, but they are often deployed to natural disasters, to floods and to things like that. However, President Donald Trump has deployed them here to Washington, D.C. He said to make this city safer, and he's often said that it has made the city one of the safest cities in the world. So what's happened tonight has really shocked, I think, the White House, not far away, and the public here in Washington, D.C. to see these 2 National Guard. Now, there was a suggestion from the governor of West Virginia, these 2 had come from West Virginia, that they had died. However, the governor then retracted that a short time later and said that in fact there were conflicting reports about their condition. President Trump said they've been taken to separate hospitals and we don't yet know their condition. The shooter was apprehended, apparently also injured in this incident. So it happened just up there and it's the first major incident of this type since the National Guard have been here.
Now, John, I understand authorities have just been speaking just prior to you and me meeting now going to air. We'll bring you some of that now.
This is a targeted shooting. One individual who appeared to target these guardsmen, that individual has been taken into custody.
We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice.
So, John, what is the likely response from here?
Well, so far, Catherine, the Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, as it's now called, the Department of Defence it was previously, has announced that there will be another 500 National Guard coming in here. And this also highlights an ongoing issue in the United States, the number of guns here. There are more guns in the United States than there are people. And so the reality is that even if you're walking around a part of the city like this in the centre of Washington, D.C., 2 blocks from the White House, which you would think would be safe, often you don't know whether the person you're walking by has a hidden gun and whether or not that's legal. So it highlights the constant problem of the United States, the gun culture, which is deeply entrenched in this country.
I specifically chose that report because it had been playing on the hour even after, and I made a reel about it, even after it had been confirmed who the shooter actually was, and it turned out to be an Afghan. That was my next thing. But the point is, straight away, ABC went to blaming guns, not the... and they didn't bother to correct it immediately. There was no update on what it was. It turned out to be an Afghan immigrant who was let in to the States under the Biden administration's, botched withdrawal of Afghanistan. And, it clearly looks like, it's being investigated as an Islamic terror attack, but you won't hear that on ABC. They won't mention that. To them, it's the gun's fault.
Yeah, I mean, they just jump to the default talking points that they have about America, which one happens to be the gun culture, and they'll link it whenever possible.
I think it's also deeper than that. I think in Australia, they do not want to talk about mass migration because that's a sensitive topic here. Like,
Yep.
if you're looking at that specific group, we have a lot of those. We have a lot of Afghani.
Look, I don't think it was.
refugees.
I don't know when that report was made. It wasn't necessarily clear right at the start who this individual was.
No.
They could
Okay.
definitely updated it.
It wasn't clear when he recorded that who it was, but it
Yeah.
wasn't clear. So the first thing they did was blame guns. Fine, but once it became known, I had it on. I only saw it. It's on my. I play ABC here all day. That's kind of like what plays in the background, just because I need a migraine, and and I'm like, dude, I'm seeing here, like, we know who the shooter is already. So why are you blaming guns? This is clearly a migration, a failed migration thing and a Islamic terrorism. So this is bad migration and importing ideologies, which is part of the conversation here in Australia. But they don't want to talk about that because whenever they talk about guns, they're like, look how bad America is. That's not a problem we have in Australia, even though we keep seeing a lot of shootings here in Australia. It just is criminals that have the guns. But we learnt a bit more about the actual shooter. I'll play a bit of this. Sky News was interviewing Josh Hammer about it. Let's have a quick watch.
Shooting in DC, 2 National Guard troops are fighting for their lives after being shot. They were both members of the West Virginia National Guard, and we are starting to learn more about the suspect, the person who is accused of shooting the 2 National Guard members. That person has been identified as 29-year-old Afghan national Rahmanullah Lakanwal, according to media reports. He allegedly entered the US in 2021 under Joe Biden's Operation Allies Welcome program. Josh, can I get your reaction to this horrific tragedy?
Well, the first thing to note, Gabrielle, is that it is just that. This is a horrific tragedy. It has happened on the eve of what I think most Americans would consider our de facto #1 national holiday. Of course, Independence Day, July 4th, is a major national holiday here where we fly the flag, but Thanksgiving really is the quintessential American holiday. And for this to happen on the eve of Thanksgiving is pretty unconscionable. It is pretty unconscionable on the one hand. On the other hand, this is the sad part, even sadder part, frankly. It is all too eminently predictable. I mean, going back to 2021, this Biden operation, I mean, the entire withdrawal from Afghanistan was completely botched in the first place. Not the mere act of withdrawing. I actually was calling for the United States to withdraw for many years prior to that, but the manner in which it was done was just so extraordinarily chaotic. And then to have this program where you bring in, by some estimates, nearly 90,000, between 80 and 90,000 Afghans. Some of them were genuine interpreters who actually helped the United States Armed Forces during the 2 decades in Afghanistan there. But you are playing with fire.
And I think this is relevant to Australia as well, because we did exactly the same thing. And, what's that name of that guy that always attacks me at all? The Roman, the one that takes his top off goes to the pro-Israel rallies and takes his top off to try and intimidate, and he tried to intimidate me and Daniel. Remember that time? You know what I'm talking about?
I think I vaguely
And I kept
remember.
asking him if he's on the juice, and he doesn't want to admit it. Then I saw TikToks about him where people like...
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Roman, yeah. So like those people came from on those migrations from after the Afghanistan war, and where America really, well, the Biden administration rushed out of there in the most... floppy way, I guess. I don't know what to call it. Like, it was just the worst kind of withdrawal you could think of. It was chaotic.
Well, a lot of it was
Marines were killed at that.
Yeah, 18 on the way out near the airport. A lot of this was predicated on the fact, I mean, the influx of these quote unquote aliens or illegal, in a sense, because they did have a name for their operation. They just said the name before. A lot of them were people that actually worked within the US military system in Afghanistan. And it looks like this particular individual had some relationship as well, from what we're seeing online, at least to the CIA and a base.
I don't know. I don't know if he did. Because he didn't look that. He didn't. What did you see that says that? Because he looks quite young in comparison to the.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about it. Maybe not in a military sense, but at least working at one of these bases or having access to a base. Now, that doesn't mean he's particularly did anything in Afghanistan, but a lot of people were put at risk for cooperating with the US military, and that's the kind of people. That's the kind of people that they were trying to get out of the country. But you saw that plane taking off from the airport in Kabul, and they had just shoved it with all these people, right? And none of those people were vetted, and so many people came through the cracks. And that's the issue here, because a lot of these people are now out in society. Obviously, this particular individual has ambushed these two military personnel.
Yep.
And, waited for them, had a weapon, shot them point blank, pretty much. And, gone there with the intention, it looks like, based on the act that's being committed, to commit this terror attack, as it's been labeled. And again, for what particular purpose? Was it something that had been planned for years? Did he just snap? Was it something to do with, something that happened in Afghanistan? All these things will obviously come out in time. But what all of that points to is that people in America, Americans were put at risk by these programs that don't vet these individuals. And this is not even people streaming through the southern border. This is people coming through systems where they know who they are and they're being tracked. These people are known to them, but they just haven't vetted enough to know if it's a risk or not. So, Trump, I don't know if you saw his speech. He got up there. He gave a very defiant. Can you actually probably pull it up?
Yep.
And he was just like, we're going to stop all these Afghan nationals or these aliens. We're going to, look at the program all over again, and we're going to pause everything, and we're going to go through everyone again. And unfortunately, people that might already be in the US might be picked up on this and kicked out of the country, because he is right. There are people in that country that have come from these war zones that do not like America, that hate America, and that want to inflict harm on America. Let's watch the video.
In a monstrous ambush-style attack just steps away from the White House. They had been deputized as part of the most successful public safety and national security mission in the history of our nation's capital, the D.C. Safe and Beautiful Task Force, which has achieved an unprecedented reduction in violent crime and crimes of all type. This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. The hearts of all Americans tonight are with those two members of the West Virginia National Guard and their families. The love of our entire country is pouring out for them, and we are lifting them up in our prayers. As we are filled with anguish and grief for those who were shot, we're also filled with righteous anger and ferocious resolve. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That
I
is
think
why
that's,
tonight I can announce.
that covers it. But the point I wanted to make was he kind of linked it to Somalis, all immigrants that are there illegally, and he's linked all of this together because it is a failure, because a lot of this vetting has not been done, Avi, for years under Biden, and now you do have people who have turned against the country. So it is an issue that needs to be addressed. But with all of this, I wanted to also make a point that there's layers to this, because we have had representatives from the Democratic Party, as well as people in the mainstream media in America, the left-wing media, who have been amping their rhetoric towards these National Guardsmen being in cities to protect Americans. So they are also a part of this problem, because we don't know if these individuals are being radicalized by the things that they're hearing from these Democrats, who are pretty much telling Americans to essentially take up arms of some sort against these National Guards people and fight back. And this could also be a consequence of that. It's not very clear as to how all of this stuff is interlinked, but surely President Trump will want to get to the bottom of that, because I think there is a lot of that connection to what happened today, not just this kind of terror element as well.
And you are right. I stand corrected. I got a bit busy. I never even saw it. So the alleged National Guard shooter worked with U.S. government entities in Afghanistan, including CIA, Ratcliffe said.
Yeah.
So the Afghan national accused of shooting 2 National Guard members blocks away from the White House, worked with various United States government entities, including the CIA, as a member of a partner force in Afghanistan, Fox News Digital has learned.
Yeah.
Rahmanullah Lakanwal. Bloody hell. That's a hard name. Entered the United States on the heels of disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021. It's interesting because that's just brought up that whole disaster for the Biden administration and reminded everyone how bad that really was and the consequences of it. Like, no matter which way you look at it, this is a consequence of that. Whether he was an Islamic extremist that never got, the vetting system never picked up on it, or he's been radicalized since, or he's just angry that his status got, because his visa status or whatever expired in September. So he may just have been angry about that. But there were reports that he was shouting Allahu Akbar as he was shooting him. So I guess that does point, but it can be a combined.
And it's not out of the ordinary. Like, a lot of the deaths we saw of US personnel in Afghanistan was actually committed by people that they knew and that they were training or working with. There's actually a term for it. I forgot that term. Doesn't come to my mind right now, but this was a lot of the deaths that occurred. So it could be he could be harboring something from that time. That's not very clear to any of us at the moment. The links with the what was it that you had there? The links to the CIA and the withdrawal and all these things are points that Trump himself, Vance, and many other commentators brought up during that exact time period. They warned about this exact same situation. So if you jump on social media now, a lot of the clips that are playing is Trump, Vance, and these other commentators during that time warning about this exact scenario playing out on American soil. And it's happened. And you also have the clips at the same time of the Biden administration saying that, they're doing the vetting, that they're looking into all this, and that, they're taking all the precautions. Well, it turns out they probably didn't do that, at least to stop something like this from taking place. So, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this over the next couple of days, if not months, as it's investigated, because, like we know, there's a lot more of these people in America. And, will this be embolden others to act in this way as well? Is there more people connected to this? They're all questions that people will be asking tonight in the US.
And you know what is funny? That as I tend to do these days, as the news was breaking, I was like, okay, how long before... let me read what I wrote. All right. How long before the usual suspects insist that the suspected Islamic terror attack on the U.S. National Guardsman by an illegal Afghan national was actually a Mossad false flag? I'm sure Candace Owens already has. Trust me, bro, tip that it was an Israeli French op. And I kid you not, like when I was scrolling, that Suleiman, what's his name?
Yeah, Soleimani Ahmed.
Yeah, is it Suleimani Ahmed? Like a couple of them, that other Christian one. It's like, does anyone else feel like this has the hallmarks of a false flag? It's like, why? Because it's an Islamic terrorist. According to that guy, there historically has never been an Islamic terrorist. They're all just Mossad
False flags.
ops. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you believe that, I got to tell you.
Yeah. It's so.
But
yeah.
Candace will have a field day now because the key phrase is CIA's in there. So she can make all types of links and connections in her mind and then put it out to the rest of the audience who will eat it up verbatim. I just see it happening.
They're so predictable. All of those commentators now are the most predictable people. Like they've got to, Candace, her modus operandi is to wait like 24 hours, kind of let it settle a bit, and then start all the shenanigans. Start with a little like teaser, and like the hallmarks of a false flag. Or start honing in on the CIA thing. It's like, yeah, no shit.
The Egyptians.
The Egyptians were in the CIA in Afghanistan. I still can't. Honestly, I don't understand where that whole conspiracy is even going. But
it's gotten like really laughable, this whole thing with Candace. And I know there's people that watch our show that support her, but even within the woke Reich, we have Nick Fuentes, who is not a pleasant person either, mocking her as well, saying how ridiculous all of this is getting. So there is a tension brewing there between these sides who have. Because this is the thing, Avi. A lot of these woke writers have built their little, on Candace's hill there because they've carried that on, right? They've spread it out. So if she falls, the house of cards falls.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are on.
There are people there that literally on X, you can see that their entire thing, like they were nobody before they jumped on this Candace thing, then they just repost. There's that one that does, every post starts with holy shit. And then he does a post like a clip of Candace's, and then she retweets it. The funny thing is that guy's like, he's the most anti-Israel, anti-Jewish guy. Like he's saying, his response to this I saw was, why don't we deport all Jews and all Muslims? Like, which goes against Candace. Wait till Candace tells him off. But him on October 8, he had posted, turn Gaza into a parking lot. And I'm just like, these people that are they're just always looking for the most extreme thing that they could say in the current moment on the side, in the box that they perceive themselves. So at the time, he was like a Christian Zionist, and then he jumped on board with these guys. So he just says, he's the only person that I've actually seen on the internet, at least with a profile, who's actually called for genocide in Gaza ever. But then now, fast forward 2 years later, he goes on about Israel's genocide in Gaza. If only they had followed his instruction on October 8th, there would have been an actual genocide.
Yeah.
It is very laughable. But look, anybody that still is falling for that nonsense, and I say this every episode, I'll still be here when you wake up from this.
Yeah, guys, you can watch back previous episodes. We've been telling you for months now. Eventually it'll happen. You'll see it, and you'll be like, those guys were telling me. You'll see it how it's playing out.
You could be like, I still hate Avi, but he was right about Candace. But we'll read some of the super chats. Thanks, guys, for your super chats. We're reading all super chats. Baz the Dark Horse, welcome back to the super chats. It says, I can't wait for Pauline's movie. The trailer is gold. Hal, the Orange Empress of Australia, Trump Hansen, the Ranga Revolution. You know what we should do? Because that's in our topics. Let's maybe start by actually watching that.
Let's play the trailer for everyone.
Let's watch the trailer, yeah.
Let's hype the movie. The what's it called? The very progressive or super progressive movie. Let's hype it up. Let's make it one of the most progressively watched movies ever on Australia Day.
Is this
pretty funny?
Let me just see if I can. A super progressive movie. Oh, yep, the trailer. 1 second.
Once upon a time in so-called Australia, a culture war tore the nation apart.
Oh shit! Sorry.
You've turned the audio.
the lefties want. And I should
You got the
know.
audio-
I'm the Prime Minister. Elbow.
You got the audio filter on, Avi.
This is
I'm
mine,
trying to
mate.
work out. Oh, that's what it is.
Good morning, fellow white straight
Oh,
males.
let's start again. I was trying to work out why that was stuffing me up before with the Trump one. I got it. It's the wrong thing.
Once upon a time in so-called Australia, a culture war tore the nation apart. And somehow, and I should know, I'm the Prime Minister. Elbow. This is my land.
Good morning, fellow white straight males.
Hey, big boy.
Just as the elders foretold, this is Armageddon.
I'm gay and retarded, Your Honour. I'll allow it.
That's toxic positivity.
I'm sorry. In case you haven't noticed, Pete, I'm black.
Daddy, I don't believe him.
You have to believe him, honey. He's 1/16th Aboriginal.
Wait, what if someone sees us?
Let the cookers watch.
Wow, the rainbow serpent. Sounds like a really cool gay snake. It's not a gay snake!
Your mic's off again, mate.
I was going to say, I think your filter was still on that video, but it was. We got the idea. It was good. But yeah, don't forget to support it, guys. Superprogressivemovie.com. It's not always that we have more conservative, right wing style comedy, cartoons and movies. We don't have much of that content in Australia, and it's a good way to kind of win the what is it? The social cultural capital when it comes to mocking these people. It's a good opportunity to do that by supporting this kind of content for sure.
And it's not without its controversy, because this was the story making news on this particular film last night. Let's have a quick watch to this.
Now I want to go to what is really a world-exclusive preview of the new Pauline Hanson movie. The announcement of the movie-length version of her Please Explain cartoons, produced by Stepmate Studios in Melbourne and our mate Mark Nicholson, well, that was supposed to happen tonight in the Parliament House Theatre. But late today, it got banned on the grounds that the movie trailer and excerpts might offend people. So, in a world first, here's some of that trailer.
Once upon a time
we watched it.
in so-called Australia, a culture war tore.
Armageddon. There's so much more. You're going to love it. When I caught up with Mark Nicholson late today, I noted that he would have known, of course, that the movie would be controversial, but surely he didn't expect it to be banned at Parliament House.
Mate, I cannot believe it. I touched down today here in Canberra, in our nation's capital. I've done my hair, I've put good clothes on, and they've sent us away, and I have no idea why. It's a super progressive movie, Chris. What's the problem? I have no idea what they're going on about. It's actually, it really just does anger me. I think they've wanted to cancel this for about a week, and they've just kept sending us emails wanting to look at the content, but not giving us any reason as to why they're doing it. And then ultimately the reason is they're concerned that it may offend a person, like one person. And I think this just speaks to just why the whole arts industry is completely broken. That's the reason why we don't create anything good in this country anymore. This fear of causing offence is just paralysing the arts.
Well, it underscores exactly the point you're making in this movie, I suppose. You call it the super progressive movie, but you're actually attacking political correctness with pretty fierce and biting satire all the way through it, right?
100%. And honestly, at its core, the message of this film is actually a really, really good one. And it comes from witnessing what Pauline said in Parliament, but that none of these lefties listen to, which is that we're not saying you can't be a lefty, you can't be progressive, you can't be trans, you can't be Aboriginal. We're just saying don't act like a victim. That's what it is. And it might be a bit of tough love, and sure, a lot of it might be antagonistic, but ultimately, it's a really good story. We've got a really good message. It's a shame that they won't support it here at Australian Parliament House. I think if they actually saw the content, much like the cartoons, the actual core crux of the message is actually a really good one, and I think a lot of people would be better off experiencing it.
Well, I can't wait to see the whole thing, especially given they told you I'm happy to play a small role in it, my voice over my character. But I've got to tell you that even the trailer you sent us, which went for about 1:20, we played about 40 seconds of it there at the start of this interview, but we couldn't show all of that on air here because we know it would attract complaints that would go to the broadcasting authorities, and it just ties you up in process to defend your right to broadcast. So, I mean, it is difficult to make politically incorrect jokes these days.
Yeah, and that's why we're fully committed to this. We're doing a completely independent run, and today's only sort of firmed that strategy up for us as well. We're going direct to consumer. I've spoken to a few of the big streamers, and there's definitely interest there on the movie, but we just want to get this movie out to people. So we're directly distributing it via the website superprogressivemovie.com. You can pre-order from today, and we've locked in cinemas around the country. We're doing live events so that they can't stop us, and to be honest, I feel the weight of this because it's completely independent. We've got Pauline Hanson and the whole team here supporting us. Nowhere else would you see a movie like this being made. Nowhere else can make this because it's completely hijacked. The whole industry is completely hijacked. So I've got an extraordinary opportunity here. So we're going hard, but I just didn't want to squander that opportunity because you will not see this movie anywhere else. And I think it's important to show.
It says so much about free speech.
It's the Aussie equivalent to like a South Park movie. And I think all of this anyway, Avi, is good publicity for them. This is exactly the type of publicity that you'd want to have.
But it's such a joke. We were talking
It is
about
a joke,
the
of
other
course.
night, the fact that they cancelled their viewing in Parliament because it may
It's
offend
ridiculous.
someone. Well, like any film that the left does offends plenty of people when they're grooming. They have what's called the story time. The what are they called? The drag queen story time. That you see, there's protest, so it mass offends everyone, and they bring them to Parliament. That offends like half the population at least.
Well, Parliament should be the place where you can have controversial, offensive ideas being shown to a select group of people. It's a secure venue. You can screen the people that come in there, obviously. And if a group that has a different ideology that is not accepted by the left, that's just how it is. It's the Australian Parliament. And we should be able to screen those type of films in there for an audience. Because like you said, they would get an opportunity to do the stuff that they do that no one really likes as well. So it's just unfair, obviously. It's very blatant.
It goes back to the double standard.
Double standards,
The same thing about
it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. And like that the creator was saying, that's why this movie exists in the first place, because of this nonsense. This is what it's all about.
Well, thank you for the super chat, Baz Dark Horse. You see how you managed to redirect the conversation. Matty B says, thank you for the super chat. Says, hey guys, wondering what you think of Vic Policy's police powers. Oh, searching people in Melbourne CBD. Yeah, you did. You sent me that. I think that was one of the stories. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, pull up the map as well. So that's going from the 30th of November to I believe, the 29th of May. Victorian police will have the power to search anyone for whatever reason, go through your bags, and get you to empty your pockets, remove jackets, things like this, whatever. Anyone for any kind of suspicion that they may have. And that's happening for almost 6 months.
Civil rights groups have slammed new police powers, allowing them to stop and search anyone in Melbourne CBD without a warrant or reasonable suspicion of a crime. Blake Johnson joins me live with the details. And Blake, this is all in the name of getting knives and machetes off our streets.
By exposing everyone, Mike, in the city to extraordinary search powers for the next 6 months. From this Sunday until the end of May, the city and parts of Docklands, South Bank and East Melbourne become a designated area. That's where police can search cars, move people on and complete pat-downs without a warrant. There is no explicit reason given as to why the next 6 months are crucial and why the inner city is being targeted. We've seen these powers handed out before, but usually only targeting a specific event, like planned clashes between protesting groups, and usually confined to a weekend or a few days max. 6 months is a significant step up. The powers are defended by the government. The opposition claims they perhaps don't go far enough. Legal minds are worried about the potential for racial profiling, and they're shocked at what they say is an overreach of power.
Victoria Police saw the need for there to be an additional period of time available to them to be able to undertake these, to use these stop and search powers. This is all with that focus on keeping the community safe.
It doesn't go into areas like shopping centres or public transport or train stations.
We consider them to be a significant abuse of police powers and also a real fundamental intrusion on people's human rights and civil liberties.
It's an overreach of police powers. The Premier of Victoria is really scraping the barrel here to win votes.
Liberty Victoria claims it has analysed data from similar laws a few years ago and found only 1% of people searched had anything of note on them. That means 99% had nothing. They plan to keep a close eye on the stats from this latest push.
Okay, Blake, thank you.
How do you feel about it?
Look, I mean, it does feel very political, Avi, because we are going into the state election next year, a few months after this.
It's kind of the tough on crime thing. That
the whole tough on crime thing, seen to be doing things. And the biggest problem I have with this is, and I will admit that we are in a crime wave crisis in Melbourne, which I call Gotham City. There's crime all the time in the outer suburbs, but even within the city of Melbourne itself, it's problematic for sure. But they're going with the very hardcore response of just targeting everyone. So because they've been inept and unable to deal with this issue in other ways, now all Victorians must pay the price, as they do all the time when it comes to this government and the police. And then we all must be treated like criminals for them to achieve their aims. And those aims, like those statistics showed, might not necessarily be achieved. So at the end of the day, we might be out having dinner with our friends, out with our partners, out with our kids. And there's a possibility that, if you look suspicious enough to the police, or if they've profiled you for whatever reason, they might pull you up and search you. The biggest problem I have, Avi, is that Victoria Police do not have a great track record when it comes to interactions with the public. And, it's one of these scenarios where we might see issues pop up where police do abuse their powers. Because the moment you give them powers like this in Victoria, they tend to overuse them against the public. And usually the innocents get caught up. What about you? What do you think?
It's interesting because I'm just looking at that group, Liberty Victoria, who gave the sound bites there about protecting people's personal rights.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at their stances during COVID. They weren't not very strong. They didn't have much to say.
A lot of these guys are hypocrites for sure.
Oh, this is the biggest lefty organization, and they're not really about people's personal freedoms.
No.
It's just another far left wing organization using like libertarian kind of talking points.
Well, their whole thing is that people are going to be racially profiled. You saw Lydia Thorpe on there.
Yeah, well, if you look at their side,
it's all
refugees and
exactly
like all this nonsense. It's not really about, like these guys aren't advocating people's rights to self-defense. To owning guns or pepper spray. I don't see them. I'm trying to see here. I've never really followed them. Liberty Victoria focuses on its efforts across the main areas: criminal justice, government regulation. So they're really, so they're saying they want bail. They say bail saves lives. That's one of their big ads here. So they're a full leftist organisation dressed up as like a libertarian thing. They get you with Liberty Victoria. They're not at all. look, I'm conflicted about it. On one hand, I totally get, and the reason why that the government is doing that, which is kind of what Lydia Thorpe is saying, and she's right, is Jacinda's scraping the bottom for some votes because she realises that Victorians are super concerned about public safety. People feel unsafe to go to the city, whether it's the violent protests or just the junkies or the machete immigrant gangs and teenagers or whatever you want to call them. Like, all those things are making people worried to go out everywhere, especially in the city. And so Jacinda Allen really is pushing that, and she successfully knocked out Brad Batten because she's doing that. So Lydia Thorpe is right about it. So having said that, but you know, like I also do know, unfortunately, from personal experience, Victoria Police tend to abuse powers you give them.
That's the real problem, I think. That's the real issue.
I don't actually have a problem if they racially profile.
Look, I think they have to racially profile, because if you see a bunch of African kids hanging around in this particular climate, and you know, they're just hanging around, you know, being shady in a particular area, they're more likely than not, those individuals have been caught on CCTV and all manner of other cameras breaking into people's homes. So, you know, you'd think the police would have to be smart in that sense. Obviously, that they'd never want to say that. You wouldn't want them to be just targeting just people going about their ordinary lives. But I don't know if you saw that. There was a little snippet from Sam Groth from the opposition. And what he was saying is, it doesn't go far enough. We want the police doing this in shopping centres and train stations, not just out in public.
You know what? There's a part of me that agrees with that.
Well,
look, I'll tell you something. Like, everyone goes on about the racial profiling. That's what their whole shtick is. That's what Liberty Victoria's problem is. Oh, they're going to be racially profiled. Yeah. Do you know what? I feel safer when I get double checked at an airport, because I know, like, the likely terrorist, but the likely terrorist is not going to be like some white 30-year-old male or 40-year-old male. It's going to be somebody who comes from, like, my background, Yemen. Somebody who has a bit of Arab, you know, fighting age male from the Middle East. Yeah. So racially profiling, because statistically I fit the profile of someone more realistically going to commit that. Like, what's the point of doing the low risk?
You can't just have the police just searching everyone. They have to make some sort of discernment when they look at people and do some type of assessment, and in that assessment includes some level of profiling. Yeah. Right. So if someone's acting erratic, obviously
erratic behavior, that's
an easy
sure
one.
Yeah.
But if you got a bunch of kids hanging around, you know, in front of a shop, loitering in that area, and it, you know, looks like that there could be maybe some trouble brewing, go up to them, search them, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I agree 100% with what's going on, but I'm saying that is a form of profiling, and that's going to happen. So you can't completely eliminate that, and this kind of left-wing dream of eliminating all this completely is not realistic.
It's
in this
silly
scenario.
And it's counterproductive. It's at the end of the day, I think what trumps the individual right in that moment is the public's right to feel safe, to be able to use the amenities, the community, to be able to walk on any street. I would prefer to not leave it up to police. Like, I would prefer that we had the right to conceal carry. Like, I would like the right to walk around with a gun, and then I don't have to work. Like, I don't have to, because the police are never going to be there when you actually need them. I would like the right to defend myself, but that's not the reality we have. And the problem is that the only people walking around with weapons at the moment are criminals, and they're walking around with it brazenly, attacking random people. You saw that girl in the city who stabbed. Did you see that video? A few weeks ago, stabbed some random, and then it turns out she had a gun on her the whole time. Did you know that?
She had a gun on her?
Yeah, so that was reported yesterday, is that she was walking around, she had a gun.
She was denied bail. She was denied bail, right?
Yes, and what came out of that hearing is she was actually found with a firearm shoved down her pants. Like, oh my God. That's the situation that we have in Melbourne at the moment, and the only people that are unarmed and unable to defend themselves, defenseless, is us, the community.
Yeah, for sure. But I do, anticipate we might get to see some abuse of power by police as well.
I wonder what's
that does happen.
Limbrick and that saying, because they would be hard up against that, wouldn't they?
I haven't heard. Well, I didn't see yesterday anyway around this.
Let
but
me see if Limbrick's
typically,
they're usually against
against expansion of power in that way.
And I totally get, like, they're coming at it from the libertarian perspective, and I totally get that as well, especially since living through COVID.
But that's okay, because what are they doing? They're also advocating to arm people with at least pepper spray or something. So they're doing both. It's not just like, oh, we can't have any any protections. You could have liberty, you could have freedom, and you can stop police from having expanded powers, but at the same time empower people. So that's kind of the libertarian approach, from what I understand.
Oh, here we've got Limbrick's view on it. Let's have a listen. I'm genuinely interested to hear what he has to say about it.
I mean, across that broader area of the city on Sunday. David Limbrick joins you, Upper House MP. He represents the Libertarian Party. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
You're usually keen for some stronger police powers around crime. What do you make of these search powers in the city?
Well, we definitely opposed this when they brought it in. I think that what's going to happen here is that the government always use whatever powers they have available to take away people's rights and complete the job that they've got. And when the government brought this in, they said, this is going to be a rare thing, like the idea that they're going to be declaring entire areas for 6 months at a time is going to be really unusual. And of course, it turns out it's not the case at all. They've declared a huge area in the CBD where you can get searched without any reasonable cause. They can give you a pat-down search. They can give you a wand search. They can order you to leave the area for, just because they order you to. And I think that this is a gross invasion of people's rights and privacy.
Do you know if there's a distinction between a pat-down and a wand under the legislation?
No, they can choose to do either under these designated powers. So, they can also force you to remove face coverings as well if they choose to do so, or without any reasonable suspicion at all, just at random.
Why is it a significant intrusion into your rights? The line in the police statement is, if you do not have a weapon, you have nothing to worry about. What do you say to that?
Well, the police are meant to have suspicion before they search people. I don't know, what your listeners think, Raf, but the idea of someone, coming up and giving you a pat down, going through your bags and things like that, this is not what should happen in a free society. And, in Australia, we have so many intrusions on our freedom, and we have to guard it as much as we can. And this is just a gross invasion of people's rights.
Do you feel safe in the city at night?
Not really. I think a lot of people don't feel safe, especially, women walking around the city at night by themselves. This is another concern I've got with this. A lot of women now, and I've spoken to women, they're arming themselves with pepper spray. You can buy it online. It's not legal in Victoria.
It's not legal.
It's not legal in Victoria, even though they've recently legalised it in Northern Territory. I think that they should legalise it for people. I'm worried that women who are worried about violent crime are going to end up being victims here and potentially, get stung with prohibited weapons offences.
Well, it's illegal.
That's a good point.
It is illegal, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, but just because it shouldn't be doesn't mean that the police should wave it through, does it? It's illegal.
Well, the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people that feel unsafe, and some people have been, wanting to protect themselves with pepper spray. And there was a recent case where a woman did use it in self-defense successfully to thwart a violent
in Victoria?
In Victoria. And the police didn't press charges against her. They said, okay, they let her off in that case. And I'm concerned that there's going to be lots of people inadvertently getting into trouble here.
He does make a very good point about that. That's very good. I didn't even think of that point.
There was a couple of parts that are very compelling, and actually, I got to say, after hearing that, I take back my position on it. I actually, the only reason why I was sort of supporting it because I want this tough on crime approach.
No,
we
need something to happen, Avi. Yeah, we need something to happen, but it can't be. It can't be at the expense of our freedom.
Well, giving them broad powers that are going to be abused, as in, like, Imagine I'm walking in the city. Of course they're going to come and go. They're just going to harass you if they want you to go away from an area where there's a protest. And he's saying also, which I didn't hear in the first report, but I take it Limbrick's right about this, is that part of it is that they can just ask you to move on. Now, on one hand, all right, that's great. You can finally tell these pesky protesters, but I want to see them actually use that against those protesters that have been holding the city hostage for. They never do it. When they come in great numbers, the police always back off and back down. It's only ever used against the minority, the little groups, like that little group of Lions of Zion who go to the city. The police will suddenly use those extraordinary powers to kick them out of the city to allow the mob to have the full city. That's what's going to end up happening. But, that was the only reason why at first when I heard it, I was thinking, all right, I want to stop it. But no, I actually think Limbrick's completely right. We need a tough on crime approach. But he also made the point that I was saying, like, legalize people's right to defend themselves, maybe not with firearms, but at least with pepper spray. And there are going to be a lot of people that get caught up in this, like women who are walking around with pepper spray illegally because it's just a dumb law, or like even like average people that have got a bag of coke in their bag. Like, I don't think it's fair to make people just open their bags and then whatever private thing they have for personal, like, it's just not my business. I don't care that people do that stuff. And so I just think it is a bit of an overreach against.
Well, this is how bad the Victorian government is doing. This is how bad Labor has done. That the only solution involves destroying the liberties of innocent Victorians. Like, this is their solution, and it's just a reflection, I think, on them. And again, like, I'm not fully supportive of this for the reasons I outlined, especially around Victoria Police and setting a precedent.
Well, they've also proven themselves to abuse powers. That's the problem.
Abuse powers. But again, what else? Like, there are people in Victoria that genuinely feel unsafe and want more to be done. So what are the solutions, Avi? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, what are the actual solutions? Yes, David Limbrick proposed one. That's probably not going to happen.
Search
right?
Avi's bags for baggies.
Yeah, I was thinking of cans of Coke, but now I'm thinking something else. But you're right. So I'm going to be careful now when I go to the city of Melbourne what I carry with me.
Yeah, no, it is concerning, and it's concerning that that's the approach that they're taking instead of empowering the individual to defend themselves.
Well, not even that. Simply, like, let me put it simply, Avi. What's the main thing they can do? Identify that we have a crime wave. Say that it's these African gangbangers, these little kids, as one problem. Like, they don't even go to the extent of saying that this is the group, this is the people, this is who we're going to target, this is who we're going to go after.
Yeah.
That is one way of doing it without inconveniencing everyone else. But
they
don't do that.
What are the fears people have in the city? What are the fears? Why are people feeling unsafe to go to the city? It's the
protests.
It's the protests. It's the kids that are walking around with knives and machetes and that, and they're very distinct, like those groups. So you're right. Like, the answer to that to both of those situations is we're targeting these groups.
Yeah, single them out.
And the reason we can grab them is because we have a suspicion. So Limbrick makes a good point. Like, that the police have to suspect you of a crime. Well, it's not that hard. Like, you go to the city, spend 5 minutes looking at certain things you can see, and you can have reasonable grounds to suspect a group of teenagers committing offences or those protesters. Sometimes they're doing the crimes in front of police and they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the police always tend to take the easy way out. So they abuse the power when they are in power, as in when the mob is not controlling. And it'll only end up, my fear is it'll only end up being used against innocent people for no reason. And rarely, or, what was the example that bloody Liberty Victoria gave? Is 1%. They found 1% of the time last time they implemented something similar. 1% of the time they had something on them. So it means they're not really targeting the people. Not that I trust that Liberty Victoria group much, but whatever. The point is, Victoria Police does have a track record, both in overstepping when they get any sort of emergency powers, and also when they have actual criminals and the type of criminals that we're all worried about and we've been talking about for so long now. So both the youth crime and the protest groups, they do nothing when they're outnumbered. They don't actually implement actual laws. They don't. It's like, forget about like search powers for random people. It's like, what about just implementing actual laws against assault, common assault? And
they watched me getting assaulted.
Exactly.
They literally watched me being assaulted by people, and they didn't do anything. And this was in a public space.
Do you know what?
Yeah, I know for sure that they weren't going to act in that scenario.
And do you know what? If they want to actually come down tough on these people, what they should say is, Avi, Rukshan, come to the city on a Sunday. Go wherever you want. Walk wherever you want. Do your reporting. And we will take down any criminal that breaks the law. Like, if you want to proactively get these people off the street, I'm happy to be your bait. I will be your bait. Like, it's not that complicated, but they don't actually want to get these people off the streets. They don't want to. They want to. The government wants to show they're doing something. Victoria Police are going to just use those powers against random innocent individuals because for them it's too hard to actually police the criminals.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. There we go. So, yeah, look at that. I started off kind of supporting him on this, and then I've walked away absolutely opposed to it. And I'm going to thank Limbrick for actually talking me into some sense on this.
Closet libertarian, Avi Yemeni.
No, I'm mostly libertarian. I'm a libertarian conservative, all right? We'll go with that. Andrew Graham, thank you for the super chat, says it was Ahmed the deadly terrorist.
That's so funny.
Done it. What is
seen
it?
the ventriloquist where he has the doll Ahmed? You can pull it up on YouTube. Type in Ahmed the terrorist, and you'll see. We'll play a little clip. I think it'll be all right. They're pretty old videos. It's like a dummy, he's got his hand in there. It's good viewing. If you guys haven't watched it, you can find lots of Ahmed.
The dead terrorist. Ahmed the dead terrorist. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Deadly terrorist. I don't know if it's called a deadly terrorist, but yeah, definitely Ahmed.
Infidel. So you're a terrorist? Yes, I am the terrorist. What kind of terrorist? A terrifying.
I'm not going to play more of it because it'd probably get us in trouble.
Look it up, guys. Ahmed on YouTube.
Yeah. That's funny. That is funny. Thanks for the super chat there. What do we got? Question for Rukshan. What is your actual job? What do you do, Maddie? Why are you assuming he has a job?
Well, that's interesting. So I do a few different things, guys. So obviously I do this media work and a bit of like my own media work and, online X posts, things like this. So I do that. I do work at what is it? The Parliament House in Canberra with a senator here and there as well. So I do a little bit of that. And I also do wedding photography and videography occasionally. Not as much as I used to back in the day. That was my full-time gig for a long time. Semi-retired from that. So very rarely I do it, but I do that here and there. And also another passion of mine, I do some day trading of cryptocurrencies as well. So a few different things, Avi, that keeps me busy. But it does appear because I'm always online at different times doing posting and stuff like this. It does appear like I don't have a job, but I do actually work, guys. I work very hard. I work at a lot of different jobs. Unlike Avi, I don't know what he does for work. I do actually do work.
I just want to pull up a comment.
And someone said Uber driver, and it's possible I could potentially be an Uber driver. And
he's been banned from Uber. Well. Don't mention this. Avi, you were mentioned in the Benny Johnson podcast regarding Candace Owens reviews evidence show a few days ago. 15 minutes, 15 seconds in. Check it out. He gets millions of views. Can you send it to me? Send me a link. Avi at rebelnews.com. Avi at rebelnews.com. Send me a link if you got it now. Pull it out and then maybe we'll watch it. Does he support or is he against me calling Candace Owens? He's a bit of a, whatever, I get on with Benny, but I find that he kind of goes with whatever he thinks is going to be popular. So I don't know. He's kind
Benny
of
Johnson, he's full on the Candace bandwagon, I guess.
Is
a way.
he?
I mean,
I don't know.
he plays it in a smart way where he uses it for his own engagement bait.
I never know.
Um,
I couldn't tell you. He's one of the people like I can't tell you it because he's also friends with all the Turning
Yeah.
Point guys. So
Nah, he plays both sides.
the middle, yeah. He's like that. I
Yeah.
find that on a lot of issues, he's a bit like that when it comes to conservative stuff. Aquiti says, did we pay $13 million to collect 1,300 machetes, 10,000?
Is that the number so far?
I don't know. And I saw
The amnesty is almost done.
Yeah, Limbrick was saying that it's done and they're recycling the bins apparently. At least I've got to look at Limbrick again. Limbrick, right? Because when I was actually looking for that just now, I had to scroll past all that stuff. Where is it? Here, let's hear what Limbrick says on the matter because he's been so good in educating us in the last couple of minutes.
Apologies to everyone for leaving you hanging so long, but I've finally got an update on the machete bin saga. So we already know we've accounted for about $800,000 or $900,000 worth, which we know is for the construction and distribution and stuff, but that's still left another $12 million. Well, today we can account for another $1 million. There's been 2 tenders which we found on government websites. And the first one is for $120,000. I'll put it up on the screen now. This is to a company called Quantum that does market research. I don't know what sort of market research they're going to be doing. Are they going to be getting in people who own machetes and asking them questions? I've got no idea, but that's a lot of money for a lot of market research, and we'll be asking about that in Parliament next week to see exactly what sort of research they were doing, because it's a lot of money. The second one, which is even bigger, which is about $880,000, which you can see up on the screen now. This is to a company called VML, which does creative design. So basically they're an advertising company. They do creative work. This is not actually placing the ads, but they spent about $880,000 apparently on designing these machete bin ads for television and social media and stuff. And damn, they must be creative for that amount of money, because that is a lot of money. I don't know about you, but I wish I was that creative to get $880,000 worth of creativity. I think these little videos are pretty creative myself. But we've accounted now for about $2 million. That doesn't include the actual placement of the ads, and God knows what else they're trying to do with that money. But we've now accounted for another $1 million. I've got some info from an expert in advertising, which we'll touch on next time.
That wasn't really answering the question I was trying to find.
No, that was more on the funding stuff, that they're trying to figure out what all those millions of dollars were actually spent on.
Yeah, but apparently... Oh, here we go. This is... No, that's not... I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like it was meant on, and I don't think they collected many machetes after all. $10,000 a machete sounds about right. Welcome to Victoria. Paul Murray, welcome back to the Super Chat, says Stepmate Studio should do Life of Muhammad. Yes, good luck. They want to survive. They want to live to tell another tale. Matty B says, will Vic bring Jack's Law in Queensland? Remind me what Jack's Law was. Is that?
I think it's to do with metal detectors, to conduct warrantless searches. Yeah.
Is that?
I believe so. Yeah. Let me just quickly search it. Something like that. I just remember it the other day. Jack's Law in Queensland, law that allows police to use handheld metal detectors to conduct random warrantless searches for weapons in public places like entertainment precincts and transport hubs. So I think they have that power all the time.
Yeah. Look, and okay, so just stepping back a second, some of the concerns that I have and that Limbrick raised, a metal detector, a wand wouldn't necessarily, I don't think it won't pick up a pepper spray thing. It won't find people's personal use of illegal stuff. It's less of an invasion of privacy. It can't really
be too abused. So I would have less issue with that if that was all it was. But sometimes with this legislation and these emergency powers, you've got to actually read it through.
Yep.
Because it's like COVID. Remember every day they were changing the emergency powers, refining it to give them maximum power. And the way they were just being reported is COVID restrictions, and like it was kind of this vague.
Very clear.
Yeah, but it was like kind of vague. It's like emergency powers to keep the community safe, and the way they're kind of doing the same thing here. And from the way Limbrick explained it, I realized actually it's been so long since COVID that I forgot this is the game that they play. You've got to read it. You've got to know what they're actually saying, because everyone's talking about these stop and search powers. What about the part where he's saying that they can just tell you to leave the designated area for no reason, just because they want you to, and they will 100% use that to people like me. I don't know if there's an exception to journalists, but it shouldn't matter. Like it should not matter. They should not have the power to just do that without a proper basis for it. Like unless I've done something wrong. Like even the move on laws, I don't like that. I think that that's wrong. The only time you should have the power to move somebody on is if they're breaking a law. But usually they're using those powers to move on a potential victim or a victim of already a crime.
100%.
Steve Mack says, come on, guys, tell it like it is Sudanese gangs prob.
Yeah, I don't mind if the particular African country is named where these kids are from. I just use African crime gangs as a overall term.
They're
But
mostly,
you can get very
Sudanese,
specific.
but there has also been Somali groups and things
There's
like that.
Somali. I mean, and there's Middle Eastern grand gangs and stuff like this. But I'm just saying, very recently, a lot of the home invasions we've seen, the car robberies, it has been these. Yeah.
Matty B says it's more crime or this. I think this is a good idea. It's more.
Okay, so Maddie's saying that if it's between the choice between more crime and having people searched, he would rather the search. And there would be a lot of Victorians that have this opinion.
And you know what? And that would be that's kind of the argument a lot of the population had during COVID. If it's this or COVID spreading to the community, then I rather this. To a degree, I agree with you. But I think there has to be really strong boundaries and limitations to it. Like this broad thing, and the way that Limbrick has described it, I don't support that. I don't think that the police should just have the power to move anyone out of a designated area on a whim with no reason.
I agree.
So that and I think that their search powers should also, it should be restricted to one. Like you're looking for weapons, or if you're looking for drugs, then it should be you have like any other regular crime. Like I think just to protect people, the average person from walking around. Like just think about your kids. Like if your kid's walking around with some illegal whatever, and they get caught up in it, and it destroys their life. Like you're 18 or 19-year-old kid, and you end up destroying their life because they're just being teenagers.
Yeah.
And they weren't actually, like they were technically breaking the law, but they're not. They're just doing what teenagers do at that age, and they're not hurting anyone else. I don't know if I feel comfortable that police can accidentally get scooped into that.
Yeah. No, there is a point to what you're saying, for sure.
Noah Bennett. Hey, Avi. He's always asking the personal questions, so we've got to watch out. This Noah Bennett. Hey, Avi, since you've been in America, aren't Aussie cities as a whole lot more safer than US cities? That's what I've heard online. Obviously, USA has guns, though. Look, I think it depends where in the USA. Personally, I can tell you in Miami, where there is, you don't even need a gun license to carry, I feel way safer holding a gun for myself. Crime stats way worse than here, probably. I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure it is. I think there's completely different gang cultures. I think there's a lot of illegal firearms on the street. I think also they have like a bad relationship, lack of respect of guns. But I do feel safer walking around being able to defend myself. You know, like in Miami, I went to synagogue and you didn't see any of those Palestinian protests out the front coming to harass them. You know why? Because half the people that were going to synagogue are walking around with AR-15s.
Yeah.
Like, no one's coming to bother them. And that's kind of like my libertarian view on it. I think that everyone should have the right to self. I think like my personal opinion is that America and every state kind of changes, but the idea that there is no respect for firearms and there's none of that train on, like, I think there should be a licensing program that shouldn't restrict, like here right now, even if you get a hunting license, LRD, which is part of the police. So this police unit has this extraordinary power in which they can just deem you as a non-fit and proper person and they can just take your guns away. Or if your ex says that you, just makes a claim that you abuse her and she doesn't prove anything or whatever, they take your guns away. And through that whole, like, I think that there should be a sensible approach to sensible gun ownership for self-defense. But, you know, we're not there yet, certainly. So let's do baby steps. Pepper spray. Like, what is the justification to not allow people to defend themselves with pepper spray? I hope that answers your question, Noah, and thank you again for your super chat as usual. The Book of Dark, thank you for another super chat. Welcome back. If only Arnold Schwarzenegger became U.S. president. He can't, ever. You have to be born in the U.S., don't you?
I would like to know, but well, we can't do it now, but what crime was like under him when he was the governor of California. You know, if he lived up to his movie historics when he was the governor, that'd be interesting. Probably not.
Noah says, why is it always Sudanese groups most of the time? Is it bad parenting or because they come from war-torn countries? Look, you know, I remember growing up and there was the whole Asian gangs. There was, you know, we've gone through different periods where there was like the Middle Eastern gangs were... The Middle Eastern gangs never kind of died out, to be fair. But with every wave of immigration, there tends to be this period in which there is a boost in kind of gang related stuff. Like, do you remember I don't know, when you were a teenager, we were teenagers together. The Vietnamese gangs were like the roughest. They used to walk around with the machetes as well. They were chopping people up. Like, that was a big thing. Now you don't see that. You don't see the Vietnamese gang. So the question is, in 20 years, are you going to see the Sudanese community like we see the Vietnamese community, where they kind of end up integrating to a degree, like this Vietnamese enclave or whatever, but as a whole, like the crime that they do is like organized crime at the top level.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say it's a different type of crime now. Let's not.
But you're not like back then. I remember you were, you know, groups of Vietnamese kids. Yeah. Like, you watch your back. Now I don't think you have that anymore. So is it something that they grow out of, or is it also culturally? Like, I don't think Vietnamese culturally in Vietnam teenagers like that. Whereas, like what he's saying, they come from a war-torn country where this kind of violence is kind of a daily and everyday.
Well, it's very
life.
normal, and that's why you have a lot of instances of younger people stabbing or hurting each other.
You didn't have that with the Vietnamese.
No, so you have a lot of instances of younger people using weapons on each other, and they see it as completely normal. So obviously, it has a lot to do with a cultural aspect to it, and we can't deny this. There is someone calling in.
Yeah, they're not.
No.
What did I do? I'm just.
You got to send the guest a link, Harvey. They're calling in. They're calling in on my link.
On your link.
Yeah, they're calling my link.
What's your link?
Because I have an interview link as well. She's calling that link.
I don't know why she's called. I gave her the same link I gave you. That should work. I did give her the link. Let me just see. I'll send it to her. Let's see if that works. When she calls in, and the person that was, someone said they sent me the, what was her name in the comments? It said that Benny Johnson thing. Where was it? So you sent me an email. I don't see the email coming through, which is work. Oh, yeah, here we go. She's here. What have we got? All right, let's welcome our dear friend. Oh, damn. Stay there. I'll zoom you out, Monica. Let's see if I can zoom you out.
Don't do that.
No, that's no good, is it? Hold on, just stay there.
It's okay. Half my face is fine.
I do not know what's going. Why is it doing that? That's so funny.
Oh.
Is it? Oh, is it my fault? No, it's not my fault.
Everything's your fault.
This time it is not my fault.
Hold on. Let's see if I can fix it.
All right, guys, let's give Avi some time here while he figures this out.
I don't know, mate. Oh, there, just stay in the middle.
Oh, that's not the middle for me. I'll just put it further back. I mean,
just go.
I do have makeup on today, so at least we have that. Okay, there we go. It's kind of weird, but I mean, if you could fix it, it would be better. But we can make it work.
Let's see if I can fix it.
We can make this work.
Monica, you've been on my show previously. How smooth was that?
It was perfect.
It was perfect. Everything worked. The screen size was correct. No issues. This is what happens when you get someone like Avi doing this kind of stuff.
Listen, I am very pro you taking charge of the show again. All right, Monica, welcome
I'll
to the
just
show.
maneuver. Don't worry.
We're not going to make waste of time on it. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. All right, we're having you on here today because obviously you've got your protests over the weekend. I'll just put them on the screen there so people can see the difference, the details. Tell us what to expect this weekend.
Okay, so if you've been to one of the other rallies in the last 3 months, you can expect the same thing in terms of, walking alongside patriot people, carrying flags. We've got hundreds of free flags to give away as well. The difference with this one is, one, we have very new speakers who are fresh, young, and to be honest, something I like about the speaker list, especially in Sydney, is that I don't even know what they think about COVID or vaccines or anything like that, because to be honest, it's still an issue because of what happened to people, but we're trying to move forward with what mainstream Australians are concerned about. And I think they're really concerned about immigration and affordable energy. So we're sticking to those topics. We're not going to talk about old topics, and we're going to have new faces, because if you've been going to all the events, you're probably getting sick of hearing the same voices on stage. That's why I'm not speaking at my own events, because I'm sick of myself speaking too most of the time. So come and meet new people, new up-and-coming social media influencers and young people from diverse backgrounds, which a lot of people troll online about. And you're going to expect lots of security and strategies to make sure that extremist groups cannot infiltrate from the left or the right. We obviously know what that means from the right. So I believe our movement, Put Australia First, is probably the number one threat to the neo-Nazis at the moment, because we are offering a mainstream alternative to what they are offering. So, yeah, there you go.
That's definitely a pitch. Did you have any questions there, Rukshan?
No, I've spoken to you about this before, Monica, and a lot of people still, I think, are concerned about, if you could just elaborate again on the fact that there's multiple groups and, these patriotic marches, and, you've already kind of said why your one is different. What's your message to people that might be on the fence saying that we just want to support one group? I don't want to go to all these different marches. I just want to stick with this particular group. What's your message to make sure more people turn out and just kind of get on board the train of putting Australia first, regardless of your personal views about, different online battles? Let's put it that way.
I encourage people to go to any march that aligns with their values, and it is so powerful to be on the streets with a lot of people. And so I would never discourage people from going to any rallies that are supporting Australia. So there's that. But actually, interestingly, I think 99% of all attendees of any rallies have no idea what the politics are behind it. And to be honest, they don't care. So that's why they go to any rally that they see. And I can respect that as well. So what the main reason why I want people to show up is because I want to show the mainstream media, and I want to show a lot of Australians who are too scared to go to these types of rallies that there is a safe alternative where you won't be tarred with that terrible brush of being a Nazi and anything like that, because you don't give them the ammunition to do so. And so hopefully next time, a lot more people will come out because they will see how safe and professional our event is. So the reason why it's really important to come to this one is because if it's successful, then this group will continue to do events. We will continue to offer an alternative to the somewhat extremes that are out there at the moment. So if enough people don't turn up, we might not be encouraged to do it again, you know? So my number is, if there's 5,000 people, then I'm going to commit to doing it again. If it's less than that, it's going to be a question. So please come so that we can do this again.
Well, we'll be there to cover it on Sunday. We will have a live stream for those that cannot make it. There on the ground. Is that still going ahead, Rukshan? You're still in on that one?
I'm still in on that one for sure.
We'll have one of our fancy live streams going on. All right. So for those of you at home or around the country that can't obviously make it, otherwise, we look forward to seeing you all there. And guys, please, when you go there, don't hassle Rukshan. He hates talking to people when he's working. You can come and say hi to me, but I'll also be rude because... Are
you coming, Monica, to both or just in Sydney?
Yeah, I'm coming to both. And I just want to reiterate to people that we have strategies in place that none of the other marches actually ever have had in place. So it's going to be safe, and we're going to do as much as we can.
In what way do you have...
Well, I can't tell you what the strategy is, can I?
No, is there security strategies?
Yeah, exactly. Just to make sure that, you know, we had the first march, you obviously had Thomas Soils speaking. The second march, you had the left throwing rocks, you know what I mean? So the police are working really heavily with us to make sure that none of those things happen. So we have hindsight in that way. Yep. So we're kind of lucky in that way. So please, if you feel scared, don't feel scared and come.
That is the day, Monica. I just wanted to ask you this as well, as someone that's dealt with Victoria Police a lot. 30th of November, I believe, is the day that these extended powers that Victoria Police are getting come into play. So for 6 months, they can just do warrantless searches on people. Has the police indicated anything about that in regards to your particular protest? Have they been closely talking to you guys about, you know, that kind of possibility that people will be searched?
Well, I'm not actually organising the Melbourne event, so we have Nick Patterson organising it and Morgan Jonas. But I did hear that it's what is it called when they have a particular zone
designated
where they can
area? But
yeah,
they've designated that area for 6 months, anyways.
Right, so it's going to be that again. So it's not going to be really anything different.
Yep.
All right. Well, good luck on the weekend. We look forward to seeing you again, Monica, back here in Melbourne where it all started. And hopefully you have a successful event or event.
I hope so. And thanks for supporting. And we'll see you then.
See you, mate.
Bye, Monica. Thank you.
Okay, so here we go. I'm kind of looking forward to Melbourne. I like going to these kind of events, whether it's protests to cover that we support or protests against or protest, whatever. It's just every once in a while I like to be out there in the street talking to people and go, you know. So I am looking forward to it. It'll be fun, guys. Tune in on a Sunday. Yeah, so we'll probably get the links up tomorrow already. I'll probably get the links up tomorrow. All right. So I've been sent by our viewer, our good friend. I don't know if she uses her real name on the comments. I'm not going to say her name, but let's have a watch at what Benny said, apparently, with regards to my post or something. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is... Now I know what he's talking about. Okay, hold on. Damn, why is this... So many technical issues tonight. All right, let's go here.
lost this country, you should hold a press conference. A lot of people, I mean, this is LOL, you're so cooked. I mean, this is like, that's not helpful, obviously. Candace, please do whatever you need to do. Stay.
That was it. That was it. My unhelpful comment that Candace is so cooked. Dude, she is so cooked. I
don't know why, like, these guys go hard on, like, left-wing commentators. They go hard on other people they don't like from the right, you know, especially if they're kind of, whatever reason, aligned with Israel or for whatever thing, like a Zionist or whatever. They go really hard on them.
Yeah.
But for Candace, they just wrap her up in like a cotton ball. And they're like, oh, you can't be like that to her. You can't talk about it. You can't criticize her like this. So there is this element, I think, like, these guys are actually literally terrified of her in case she turns her eye onto them.
Look, I've certainly heard that from different people.
Yeah.
There is an element of that in this right-wing space because she is relentless and she does have the biggest podcast. You know, and she's very petty. Like you've seen a couple times, like I've commented stuff like she'll have a rant at me in her podcast, and it's the biggest podcast in the world. But then there's also, like, I think Benny probably is not as concerned about that. I think he's just trying to get views. Like, it's just it rates for him. So that's why he doesn't take. Like, he's Benny Johnson's being the responsible thing. Like, this is the guy that talks about, anyone that's involved in porn needs to be locked up and all that. I think stuff like that. And then he'll go and sit and do an interview with Andrew Tate and like foaming at the mouth, drooling at Andrew Tate. And you're like, bro, how can I take you serious? Like, I get on with him, but I don't think he's a serious character. Like
and there's also the questionable relationship with Russia, and he was involved in receiving
I think that
hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
I think that was less, like, to me that bothers me less just because, look,
I like Benny Johnson. I watch his stuff. I watch his like
he's not one of the bad guys. I just don't think he's super principled, and a lot of these people would just, like, they won't criticize Candace, like you said. They'll go after the left, or they'll go after people that they think it's popular to go after. That's all it is. Like, that's like, it's a safe. They go after safe bets. And I just don't like that. Like, I feel like even if what you're saying I don't like, at least be principled about it. Stop taking this position like, oh, it's unhelpful to call out Candace. Like, dude,
not unhelpful. It is what it is.
Stand by. Candace Owens is cooked. And I
bro, and she calls out everyone. Like, she, what, do they tell her she's unhelpful? No. What?
Okay, last story for the night, and this comes off the back. Well, it actually happened before, but off the back of our, like that little reel that I did in the story of ABC once again, straight away jumping to the gun thing, and then once it comes out that the perpetrator is not just a gun, it's an illegal immigrant from Afghanistan who was screaming Allahu Akbar, so it's got an Islamist, immigrant theory, like, it's got all these other elements to it. They just were forced to pay for their fake news, and somebody was trying to do something about that, but guess what happened?
At first, Liberal Senator, former ABC journalist herself, Sarah Henderson, moved a motion last night in the Senate to establish a parliamentary inquiry into her former employer amid concerns of a lack of impartiality and accuracy at the ABC. Unfortunately, that motion was voted down this afternoon. I'm pleased to say, though, Sarah Henderson joins me now. You've been inside the belly of the beast, Sarah. You're a journalist, you're a lawyer, you're now obviously a parliamentarian. Why is this inquiry so important to you?
Well, Peter, good evening. And it was very disappointing that the motion to establish an inquiry into the ABC's obligations to be impartial and accurate when disseminating news and information was voted down today. There have been many times when the ABC has failed the impartiality test. The ABC also does do some very good work. I don't step away from that at all, Peter. But one of the big issues is that there is a statutory obligation to comply with the fact that every report, every bit of news and information must be accurate and impartial. And when there have been these very big failings, the government and the Minister for Communications basically turn a blind eye. So we wanted to inquire into this, to look at other matters such as the complaints mechanism, the training of journalists, producers, editors and the like. We've seen some pretty shocking fails, even recently the doctoring of the photograph involving Jane Hume, the hectoring of Susan Lee in an interview she did last week on the 7:30 programme. She was interrupted 35 times by Sarah Ferguson. So the ABC needs to be its very best at all times, and as I say, very disappointed that this inquiry is not proceeding.
You know, we've got the census questions out for the census due next year, and there's a whole lot of stuff in there about, you know, sexuality and the sex of the person you're attracted to. I don't understand how that's relevant to government making policy, but there it is in the questions. But also I have to say, you know, why don't we have a question?
So basically, the Senate inquiry blocked from the ABC. It's just the ABC is the biggest waste of money at the moment. There's no reason, and I know we harp on about it, but the problem is when anybody does want to hold them accountable, the government protects them.
Yeah, it's like a racket. It's like they're protecting a mafia boss or something like this. It's insane. It's insane that it happens. And an inquiry would actually, I think, help people understand at least how the ABC functions, especially because they don't publicly talk about a lot of these things that much. I know they do Senate hearings once in a while and you hear back and forth with them and a senator or something like this. But it'd be great to see specific policies that they've talked about internally, looked into. And the fact that we can see the biases ourselves when we listen to them, that you kind of understand that there is something in the background, at least, directions being given in terms of how they present information. And Sarah Henderson, being someone that's worked at ABC before, I think she has she understands that this is happening as well. So she kind of knows. It'll be interesting to let that be revealed to the rest of the public. And then we can further decide whether we want to keep funding them or not. I mean, obviously, they're very, very protected and it's going to be very hard to defund them. But at least hold them to the fire, hold them accountable and make them,
defundabc.com. There we go, in the comments.
It's at their website. There you go.
That's a petition. All right, couple of super chats and then we'll wrap up for tonight. We got Steve Mack says, did you see the Muslim try to end the two guards today?
Well, they did successfully.
Well, are they dead at the end? I thought they were critically injured.
No, they're dead, aren't they?
Because it was falsely reported that they died at first.
Oh, really? I know there was one in hospital.
No, so they were originally announced, and that was what was in that ABC report as well. Is that the Virginia mayor or something had wrongly said that they died, but they were
okay. Because I haven't looked at it in a while, that story. So what last I saw was that they had been pronounced dead, but maybe he got it wrong.
Yeah. But look, it doesn't sound very good. I think there was like 24 shots, so at point blank range. It doesn't sound good. Maddie B773, thank you for the super chat. Maddie says, forgot to ask, did you guys take the COVID vaccine needed to go news reporting? So yeah, I did. I did it so I could travel. But did you do it?
Well, it's a very personal question. I think that's one of the issues I had with the whole COVID thing, was that people were being asked to do it. So I never discussed it in that manner. But it was never needed for. I know you always say you did it, but I'm saying it was never needed for news reporting per se.
I've grown this extra bone on my back though.
I will just say I've never been someone who's been in that anti-vax fashion. Let's just put it that way. I've never been that individual, and a lot of people. Yeah, go for it.
No, in the beginning, like when I did it, I wasn't actually worried about it. I just hated the fact that they were saying you had to do it to travel, and also even at the time that I had it, you had to do it to be able to work. Yeah, and they were like fully onto us. But it was more so I could go home and go to visit my mum and all that. But I wasn't like at that time. It was in the beginning. I wasn't really worried about the. It was once all the data started coming out. I was like, I probably wouldn't have done. Like, I would have just sat at home because it got like scary at some point.
Yeah, I just always thought it was a personal invasion of people's privacy by making that a prerequisite of doing things. I've just always, been offended by that whole aspect of it.
The Oracle most. Someone wrote, Avi has a history of loving needles. It's true. I used to be a junkie. That's why honestly, that's why I was not scared of getting a needle. Like, you're right. I know you're mocking me. I know you think you're being all thing, but it doesn't matter. Like, I actually agree with you. Oracle says, I've been trying to support you in conversation and broadly over the net for ages, even citing your candy poo. Wow, you are cooked as true. But you still aren't paying attention.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Who's Candace? Oh, Candace.
But that's an answer to somebody, I think. Yeah?
Yeah, no, that's
Anyways,
to you.
Thank you for the super chat. But what was the at? There was an at in it. But it might just be coming through funny on this. They are all grifters, and this is the issue. They are all pussies. I do not give a flying F about what this Piccolo, which says or does, grifter, pay attention equals all about clicks, views, and likes.
That's on Candace and Benny Johnson and the like.
Oracle's going off here. Sarah Ferguson is absolutely terrible anyway. Avi's friend equals you will have to follow it up. Avi does not pay attention to anything that he should. I can help you both. Follow it up. Peace.
Peace to Oracle. Oracle has messaged us before. I think he's got a Telegram channel. He was
I think yeah, okay. Yeah,
you got to get into the Oracle's chat,
I
and Oracle can tell us the future.
Yeah, I remember. We've interacted before with Oracle. Thank you, Oracle, for your super chats. We love you. I got to admit, half the time I don't actually know 100% what you're saying, but I love you, and I certainly love your super chats. Paul Murray says 96.5 million on the bomb website upgrade. That's true. We haven't covered that one. It is absolutely insane. Like,
it's insane.
I've been involved in building websites. You know, since like.
Look, I know what you're gonna say.
I don't know. Like when did I start? 2008, 2009. Like
it's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
There's got to be a cost to it because there is a back end infrastructure that you need for this kind of live.
Bro, that's why they had. That's why they had a $4 million budget.
Yeah, so I'm not defending it.
How do you blow a budget by how much percent is that? Like to get to $96 million, so $92 million over budget. Over a $4 million budget, which makes it so much more insane. It's not like you just doubled your budget or you 10% of your budget. Like this is thousands of percent more your budget. You've blown it by that much. It's just it sounds like a racket. Somebody is or a lot of people are scamming.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even work.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it's like legit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this. I haven't read the documents to understand exactly what the infrastructure they built around this was and if this is something that's going to serve us into the next 50, 60 years in terms of the way that
it's not even serving us now. It's not even able to serve
me
now.
Well, that's the biggest problem.
On it.
It's not worth the money because it's not working for sure. I'm not guys, I'm not defending the bomb. I think it's ridiculous, but we can't compare it, Avi, to your little Yahoo website that you made once. It's not the same thing.
I am going to make my own bomb website.
Yeah.
We'll do therealbombwebsite.com.au. It'll just be my grift. It'll be cheaper than 96 million.
Sure. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Jesse says, Avi, during COVID, why was Netanyahu so strict on COVID? Since he's part of the right-leaning party, I thought leaders of right-wing parties were more likely to be anti-vaccine, anti-lockdown. It's a good question. And it's funny when people say you can't criticize Israel or the Israeli government will get labeled an anti. Bro, through COVID, I was criticizing Netanyahu himself, often because he was one of the worst. And I've talked about it before. Like my theory with Netanyahu was I think it was more his demographic. Like he was this older, scared of. I think he was genuinely scared of COVID. He was convinced by the science because, like, Israel, like, is a really scientific country that is very involved in, and like, I think he fell for the narrative. But then, what happened was, he secured, a bit like Trump, he secured the original vaccines, like literally from Pfizer. He got a deal for Israel to essentially turn Israel into a live lab, which is like crazy. He turned Israel into a lab using the population and the reporting and all that. Turned out half the stuff that they gave was bullshit anyways. So, mate, I think, to answer your question, I think the first part was self-preservation. He actually believed in it. And then once he'd signed Israel up to it, he basically, I saw the interviews that he'd given way after it. He did it like Trump kind of does now with regards to the vaccines. You know, we got the fastest vaccines, the first, blah, blah, blah. He did it like was owning it as a political win. And that's just like politicizing.
There was a bit of a competition at the very start, I remember, between all the countries and which leader could secure stuff for their people. And everyone was kind of trying to, you know, be the guy that saved their people by securing the vaccines. And there was a little bit of showmanship involved as well. So I think some of that played into it. And a lot of them obviously put their names to it very early on, including Donald Trump, with warp speed and things like this. And it's very hard to walk yourself back after you commit to something like that, which is a part of what happened, I believe.
Yeah, and look, you can criticize Netanyahu all you want for that. That is legitimate criticism. The Oracle's back saying, that is the point, Avi. I'm trying to connect with you properly because then I'll be able to
Explicate
all these things. Explicate.
Explicate is a word.
What does it actually mean? What is it? Can we?
It's a word that the Oracle would use.
Yeah, but you are too busy with the lefties losing it. Reach out, the Oracle.
It's very mysterious. I feel like this is your Mossad handler getting in touch with you.
I feel like this is my handler getting upset with me. Baz the Dark Horse says, every philo Josh at Cyclones Oz, it does not cost $96 million. Look,
no, it doesn't cost $96 million, no.
With all my experience building websites, I will do it for the original budget of $4 million. No problems. Do you know what? They get the weather wrong anyway, so why don't they just like have like a random radar and weather report for every single day, just lucky dip. Who cares? You're getting it wrong anyways. Make it look like it's active.
Look, I mean, the radar is actually really popular. Well, it has been till the new update. It's something that I've used when I'm on at weddings and stuff to see what the likelihood of rain is before a photo shoot. So it has worked. It has been quite accurate, to be completely honest. The radar itself, not the weather predictions, but the radar is pretty good.
Of course, Rukshan is defending the bomb.
I'm not defending the bomb.
You sound like you're defending the bomb. Peter Wilson says, thank you for the super chat. Avi and Rook and Avi was wondering. I wonder why people are calling you Rook now. Everyone's getting into the short, the abbreviated name.
Rook is my nickname.
Rook and Avi was wondering if you saw Netanyahu on the Nelk Boys podcast. I saw it. I thought it was great. Never thought it would happen. I thought it was absolutely crap. I think Netanyahu was trying way too hard.
That's the only problem with it. Yeah, I think he was forced into these interviews. They weren't organic for sure.
It was no. I actually met the guy that organised it. I don't think there's.
You met them.
Yeah. I met the guy that organised it, and it was like one of his biggest failures in life. He's not happy with it, and like I was like, why would you think the Nelk Boys was going to be good for him? And I think there was two parts of it that was flopping. One was Netanyahu's actually quite. Like he's very articulate, very smart, will answer any tough questions. Like he's actually a good person to hear a proper interview from. And he makes a lot of sense. But in that interview, he tried to bring himself down to like their level to be cool, and he's just not. So it came off like really inauthentic. And
Yeah,
then the Nelk boys walked away and totally backtracked, like totally bitched out. It was just the
Yeah.
most cringe thing I've ever seen was there.
I've only ever seen Trump as a world leader be able to pull off interviews like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, it's not just like Netanyahu, but
No.
there's
I-
something about Trump, and then also there was a imbalance between, because Netanyahu was not there by just a cultural force or like he was kind of the in thing. He was kind of trying to do some marketing PR for Israel, pretty much. Like, why else would he talk to the Nelk boys? Let's be honest here. So that was very obvious to anyone that kind of knew what was going on there. So that's why it didn't come across as authentic.
Maddie B says, okay, Rook, you don't get off. Avi answered the vax. Did you get vax? This is like, who would you fight for? Israel?
No
or
comment.
Israel?
No comment. I've never answered this question. It's always I've always kept it as a mystery.
Guys, I'll answer it for you. Rukshan had 7 vaccines.
I have the boosters every month.
He was in
I get a
competition
booster.
with my dad. My dad, I think, is still getting them. My dad is still getting vaccines, I reckon.
Really?
The guy is crazy. Remember the episode we did with him in the studio?
That was so fun.
That was pretty
We
funny.
should get him back on.
My dad is like, he was against COVID in the beginning when everybody was actually scared of it. Like, he was like, no, it's nothing. And like, he was screaming at people for getting all worked up about it. And then when people started to push back at the end of COVID, he started to get into COVID. He was like, no, it's like he started screaming at people on trains and trams. Like, he was nuts. And he had like every week, I was like, oh, you got another booster? Yes, I don't. And like at this point, I think he was just taking them because they were free. Not living up to any stereotypes, Dad. On that note, God bless you all for joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
All the super chats?
That's all the super chats. So I'm going to call it an end of the night. I like to end at 9 o'clock, and my wife likes when I end at 9 o'clock. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button before you go. Hit the share button, and we will see you again on Tuesday. If not, we will see you on Sunday. Yeah, and make sure to tune in on Sunday. It'll be on all our channels. The live feed of Sunday's protest, where both myself and Rukshan will be mic'd up. We'll be interviewing people, give you a raw view of what's actually happening. Actually, there's a couple of super chats. Sorry, let's do it. Equity says, Rook, give us his Spotify. Rook gave us his Spotify list. What's yours? What do you mean you gave him a Spotify list?
No, on my show, I was sharing some of my songs. I do actually have some of Avi's Spotify's list, which is cross-pollinated with mine.
Well, which one? Like Israeli songs?
Israeli song. Well, I got the Hatikva. I got the anthem.
No, I don't play Hatikva on my list.
I got a few different.
You got
Israeli
that from
songs.
the Mossad.
What's the one that I play all the time? I'm Israel High, by that guy.
I'm Israel High.
Mate, that plays a lot in my car when I'm driving. People, if they saw me, people that accuse me of being a Zionist, if they saw my playlist and what I play in my car when I'm driving, they're probably like, yeah, it's confirmed. Rukshan is a Zionist.
I listen to Israeli music mostly. Like, how did you share it? Did you show them on the screen?
No. I don't know if I showed it. No, I didn't show it. I just kind of talked about my top songs.
I'll tell you my top song.
Yeah,
well, I got into that Christian one that you sent me, but
yeah.
I've got a new favorite. Oh shit! But I'll start playing. What's my favorite song at the moment?
We should make an opposition podcast Spotify playlist that we can share with viewers.
I don't know how to do it. You could start it.
We should both add songs from our playlist into it.
All right,
I'll work on that.
All right, we're gonna next week. We'll have that for you. All right. There you go. See, in Super Chats, you get to actually get things to happen. Peter Wilson says, yeah, Avi, I was disappointed in the Nelk boys bitching off after the podcast. They interviewed both Hassan and Myron Gaines on Israel after the podcast. It was just like retarded. It was literally, it became the most retarded thing I've ever seen. It was absolutely counterproductive. In fact, if it was meant to give Israel good PR, it actually had the opposite effect. It was really bad. The Book of Dark says they should have paid $1,000 to get each vaccine. They should have
Oh,
paid
like
us
paid
$1,000. Yeah, well, you know what? We get paid $7,000 a post for Israel, so they should have matched that. Does Avi dye his hair? No. A lot of people think I dye my hair. I actually want grey hairs. I've got like a couple of single ones.
I got a couple. I got to shave off.
I feel like it makes you feel like look and seem more
That's why I leave it on. It makes me look more wise.
wise. Yeah, something we both not. On that note, shalom, shalom. See you Sunday.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.